What you stand for under pressure. The Boundaries Reset Experience. This is the 16th episode of the series segment Transformative Personal Experience. The Value Code. What you stand for shapes how you respond. If you don't know what you stand for, you will fall for anything. That's not a motivational poster, it's tactical wisdom. Values only mean something when they cost you something. Welcome back to Your Past for a Better You, your special forces unit for breakthrough living, where we decode the DNA of excellence to help you dominate personal and professional growth. Hello, my dear friends. I am Scarlett Marcel Vantedeschia, and today we decode the value code. How to use what you believe to set boundaries that actually hold up under fire. This episode might feel more like a mirror than a conversation because today we are not talking about how to look good. We are talking about how to not break under pressure. Let's get tactical. Let's reset your limits. Let's enter the arena. There are moments where a single decision defines everything: who you are, what you stand for, and whether you are rising or just defending a chair. Let me take you inside one of those moments. This is a story I always come back to. It's not about war zones or boardrooms. It happened in a bank corporation, but it might as well have been a battlefield. I was working closely with a leader. He was my friend who knew that a critical mainframe update had to happen. This wasn't a patch, it was critical update. This was open heart surgery on the core system of a major bank. The kind of thing that, if ignored, could take down operations worldwide. Imagine the numbers. But here's the twist: he didn't act. Why? Not because he didn't care, not because he didn't know better. He didn't act because he knew no one would credit him if it worked. And he could take the fall if it didn't. Got it? So he protected his chair. That easy. And just like that, the worst case scenario unfolded. Boom! Collapse. The entire bank. Specialists were flown in from overseas by helicopters. Helicopters arriving the headquarters of the bank, billing more per hour than some of us made in a month. Imagine that. Total lockdown. None of us could leave the premises. And yet, hours into the chaos, with the owners watching and stress boiling over, those experts still couldn't find the fault. That's when one of the owners turned to my friend, the leader, and said, "What do you think is happening? They can't find the fault. Can you take a look?" The man nodded. My friend, the leader, called in his team, issued a few commands, and within an hour, my friends, the bank was back up. Of course, he became the hero, but I will never forget it. Because to me, it wasn't a story about brilliance, it was a story about misplaced values. When you choose to defend your chair instead of rising to act, what does that say about your leadership? So, I will ask you what I asked myself that day. What chair are you defending instead of rising? Yes, I know today's world moves at a supersonic pace. Startups are launched overnight everywhere. Robots are reshaping industries. Global economies face constant chaos. Empires are built and destroyed. And everyone is diving into AI, right? In the midst of all this, Talking about values might seem trivial or even irrelevant, but is it? Allow me to share a recent story I read on LinkedIn that shows the opposite perspective. A highly successful leader spent years achieving astonishing goals, only to end up in the ER. She was taking care of her enterprises, but her one critical mistake was forgetting the core of her business, herself. This core, my friends, your operational readiness, your mind, body, and mission clarity is grounded in one thing: your values. Is is the same with special forces. One of their non-negotiables is staying mission ready, physically and mentally. Why? Because no strategy survives contact with chaos if the operator collapses, right? And your values, they are the core of the core, the code behind the resilience, your resilience, the compass in the fog, the firewall that stops burnout before it ignites. Your values shape your boundaries, and together they form your shield, not just to survive the pressure, but to command it. Values aren't philosophical, my friends, they are tactical. Values aren't soft, they are structural. Values don't keep you captive. I remember someone told me that. They give you freedom, they provide you with certainty, they give you power. They are not guiding lights, they are low bearing walls. That leader didn't end up in the ER because of pressure. She ended up there because her mission was missing a foundation. That's simple. When values are vague or unexpressed, boundaries become optional. And when boundaries are optional, burnout is inevitable. You don't crash because you are weak. You crash because your internal GPS had not coordinates. Let's be clear. Values aren't aspirations. They are protocols. Boundaries aren't defenses. They are deployment lines. Okay? And without them, even the most brilliant operators collapse from internal failure. Internal failure, my friends, not external threat. Now, let's unpack the collateral damage of protecting the chair instead of the mission. That leader became the hero, my friend, remember? But at what cost? He knew the system needed that critical update. He knew the risk. He chose not to act. Why? Because his chair was more valuable than his team future. And when the mainframe collapsed, so did his team's trust, morale, and sense of safety. The cost wasn't just in money or downtime, it was in people. The team was thrown into chaos. Confidence shattered. Some of them never looked at him as the leader it was before, right? The same way. Never. He walked away with applause. The team, walked away with disillusionment. Because when you protect the chair of the mission, you leave your people behind. And in true leadership, you never leave a man behind. Mission briefing, my friends, the shield within. Like many of you, I have walked through fire, complex battles, brutal setbacks, and when people ask me, how do you stand so strong? How do you rise again? Here's the truth. Copy this, my friends. It's not easy. It's not painless. Life hits hard. That's the truth. And when it does, you don't just stand, you stand for something, your values. But listen this carefully, my friends. Copy this. Your values and boundaries don't turn you into a brittle wall. Walls crack, shields hold. Got it? This isn't about being unyielding in the wrong way. In physics, the most effective shield has a hardened core. and a surface that disperses force. That's your model. Your values, they are your unbreakable center, non negotiable. Your boundaries, they are the outer armor, forged from your values to take that hit, not collapse under it. When pressure comes, and it will, my friends, you don't react, you respond, not just to survive, but to stand unshaken and rise again. Rise, resilient, aligned, intentional, strategic. Okay, my friends, field recap. Values equal non negotiable, the core. Boundaries equal tactical armor, firm, protective, mission ready. You are not here to bend, you are here to withstand and command. Got it? This is the battlefield of leadership. When a leader chooses safety over integrity, the mission still gets done, but the soul of the team doesn't recover. So ask yourself, what chair are you defending while your team is bleeding? Are you leading them into excellence or just buying time until the next collapse? This episode isn't about ethics, it's about stability under fire. This draws a line between ethical theory and operational integrity. We are not moralizing, we are weaponizing values as tools for mission readiness. Because no strategy survives a war when your values don't show up to fight. Your boundaries and clarity are your combat gear. When values are unclear or absent, collapse is warranted, whether is it in a boardroom or a battlefield. Values are the command code. They are what selects the target, defines what's worth fighting for, and signals when to hold or retreat. They are not just how you survive, they are how you win without losing yourself. This isn't about being fearless, my friends. It's about being strategic. Not every bull deserves your charge. Not every battle deserves your boundaries. A soldier without values is a weapon without aim. A leader without values may stay in the chair, but the team, the mission, the why, all bleed out. You want the real frame? Well, values aren't about staying alive. They are about staying aligned. Values are strategy. Your values don't just decide what survives. They define who you become when you face the fire. Values are the difference between surviving the conflict and dominating it with clarity. The real mastery, it comes from having your values clearly in place. So you act with purpose, not just reaction. Ended up in the ER wasn't just a failure to set strategic boundaries. It was the result of unrecognized or non existent values. When values aren't identified or aligned, everything crumbles. Boundaries become weak, and the leader's ability to stay grounded under pressure is compromised. Without values, you are not just reacting to circumstances, you are drifting with no anchor. And that's where the real danger lies. Okay, my friends? So let's see. This is a tactical check in. Ask yourself right now these questions. When was the last time you stayed silent because speaking up risked your chair? What value do you claim yet abandon under stress? Do your boundaries come from clarity or mood? Good questions, right? Now, if your boundaries don't come from values, they will collapse under pressure. That's for sure. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be certain. Here, my friends, we don't train saints. We train people who are done betraying themselves. That's you? Then subscribe. Take the quiz, not to define you, but to see how you move under fire, okay? And join the waiting list for my upcoming book, The Boundary Reset Experience Store Lead. so you don't reset alone. Okay, my friends, mission accomplished. Scarlett out. No moral flexibility, just clarity, just power. Let's reset what we tolerate. Let's become unshakable. Copy this value code, my friends. When pressure hits, values speak, or silence does. If you don't define your values, pressure or someone else will. If this resonates with you, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who needs a pressure reset. And remember, you can also take our new quiz, okay, on the side. What's your conflict strategy under pressure? That's important for you. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning into your past for a better you, your special forces unit for breakthrough living. Strength and honor. See you in the arena.